Unbelievable. Good one, Paul. Good one. Hey, Cormac. Oh, this isn't supposed to start until another 2 minutes and 45 seconds, but it looks like I'm a little early. Is this actually showing up on screen or anything? Is there any audio? Is my audio sync okay? I did have a schedule. It was supposed to be at 9:40 here, which, like I said, is now about a minute and a half away. Looks like it jumped the gun. Or I did. I guess I don't understand how YouTube does this stuff exactly. That's alright. It wasn't that far away. I just wanted to get a couple of things quickly cleaned up before I got started, but I guess everyone will just have to see me do that. Hey, ZX, no, I guess you can all stick around this time. It's in sync. Good. Do you often think about making the move to Twitch and start streaming video games? Oh gosh, no, I'm terrible at video games. Oof, I can barely play anything really. About the only thing I enjoyed to a degree was Diablo 2. And I wasn't that great at it, but I enjoyed it, so that's kind of made up for me not being so great. Dota 2 was not too bad, but I did get a little bit sick of the rather toxic culture associated with it, you know, the online comments. Hey Travis. Hey Mr. Russia, that I can't pronounce again as usual. Okay, we're just changing our filter here, by the way. Hey Roberti, Soros. Just get the old one. This is the old one. Probably can't see the debris. It's not truly bad. Well, opening up its innermost private folds. Let me just pop the fresh one in. I could probably extend the life on these a little bit longer if I put a pre-filter on it, but it's just not worth it. These things cost me, I think, about $6 or $7 each, and I just replace them every month. Hey Southern Wonder. Yeah, that's my HEPA and carbon filter, so it does particles and gas. That's too lurid for YouTube. It is, Mr. Mac, I do agree. It was wrong of me to even consider showing that. Nick469, I don't know exactly what's happened with your situation. Okay, I'm going to try something here and hopefully I don't lose everybody. Having dreadful internet here tonight. Okay, great. Hey, Pernoff. So you'd be busy doing your... Are you still on holiday or are you back at university? Tony, welcome. Hey, Warren Stamps. Before STL, have you already seen Lewis's video on the right to repair thing? What do you think of performance of the hearing? I actually haven't watched it. I will admit that I am not a very... I'm not very active into that myself. It's something that people like Lewis and Jessa, whatever, are actively doing, so I sort of go, well, they can handle that, particularly too, also that it is in the United States. Australia has its own issues. But yeah, apparently he's done a good job there, and so did Jessa. But I'll admit I haven't invested the time into watching it one bit. I spent more time watching him eating food. So yeah, not a very. I'm not a very good person for that sort of thing. So sue me. Yeah. All right, so we better get to this computer. It's a bit of a rush job. It's a A1502, and I've just gotten the board out before I started here. This has got backlight issue apparently. I couldn't see any corrosion on it straight off. The screen connector seemed fine. I'll just put this back on. So I was happy for that. It's definitely, at least seems to be a backlight issue because I can see the Apple logo when it boots. It didn't seem to boot properly though, so I've got my concerns about that as well. None of the markers are off. Roberti, yeah, well, I mean, I've been doing open source and stuff like that for a long time now, since the early mid 90s. So my very first open source project was before they even coined the term open source. It was a Turbo Pascal, Ball and Pascal CD drive control unit. If anyone who used to use Turbo or Ball and Pascal, you used to have TPU modules or Turbo Pascal units. And at that time when CDs finally started to come out, like you could actually buy a CD unit at 1 or maybe 2 speed if you were rich, we didn't have a way of controlling them. So I had this whopping thick book on various hardware protocols and APIs and interrupt calls and things like that, and it was from Microsoft themselves, was one of them. And I managed to go through and find all the commands that I needed to control. I think it was this, what was it, IRC 9660 or some protocol like that. Anyway, so I created this Turbo Pascal module that allowed you to control multiple CD units on a DOS machine. It did great, but yeah, that was before open source even was a thing. Back then it was just what you did. Everybody did it. So, hey Edge, I see some from London. Mike Peck driving. Yes, you do want to keep an eye on that road. Let's see. Oh, I can already see actually a bit of corrosion on there. There we go, straight to it. Yep, that's in the backlight area. Oh wow, oh, it's a cracked one too. That'll explain it. Yeah, I wonder if it's dead short or what. Ah, camera's dead. I'll have to start that again. Yeah, camera microscope. It'll come up in a second. I hope. There we go. Yeah. So we've got a nice crack in there, bit of corrosion there. Seems to be a bit of a wash going across the board, like some sort of liquid has been swiped across it. Weird, it's not actually really shorted. 0.8, it's not really a hard short, but I'd say that's definitely why that's dead. Unless it's also taken out the controller. I'm a little worried about this faint wash that I can see. So something has been around here. SMC's got liquid under it. This is going to be one of those ones that start out as an easy job and then turn into a nightmare. RTC's got issues there too. Looks like corrosion in there. Yeah. It doesn't look bad, but that will cause troubles. BIOS seems okay. $49.24. Yeah, you're ugly too. What are you? What are you? Bring up the board view and have a look and see what that is. A15RA. Let's see. 4924. This is. I think that's it. You. 1VSO. 1VO5. Yeah, regulator. Alright. Well, you wouldn't kill it, but that's got to be cleaned up for sure. I wonder what else is. I'm kind of curious as what's caused this. It's like something's just sporadically spluttered all through it. There's a green pad there too. And I can sort of see something's underneath that chip. A bit of corrosion. It's kind of weird. When you get these corrosion jobs, it kind of leaves you a little bit like, wow, what's going on, sort of thing. I think this is you. What do you do? Oh, 3v3s3 switch. Alright. Okay. Oh, I wonder what else I'm going to find. Yeah, it does make you wonder what's possibly caused these hiccups. Yeah, so there's definitely sort of a faint wash over here. It almost looks like there was something there and it got brushed away. There's a bit of liquid marking there, and like I said, the SMC seems to have some sort of juice coming out of it. Alright, we'll fix up what we can. We'll start with that fella, obviously. Reflex B. Usually I hit P to cycle through the PDF. Is there a way to just use the mouse to go to the next entry? Yeah, if you can do it from the board view itself. So like if you, let's pick a network because that's the easiest one. If you've got a network selected, you can just keep clicking that network and it will cycle through on the PDF. Naturally, of course, that's the only item on there. Yeah, that will do. So every time you just click it, it goes through the next. Same with the parts. You can also, obviously there's the next and the previous things, but yeah. I'm trying to add some sort of functionality, a menu bar item up the top of the PDF viewer. The trouble is that I don't actually have a widget set or a user interface toolkit built into the PDF at the moment, other than the very, very primitive system that it comes with by default. I could try and wrap ImGUI into it, but I'm not sure I want to, because it's just a whole nother set of drama. Alright, let's turn on our new air filter. Hey, roll. Switch the BIOS chip to 1278. The BIOS chip is getting super hot, hurts the touch. Zentech, I wonder if you put that in upside down actually. I would almost say you've put that in upside down. Almost. It seems that the sort of thing that could happen. I mean, hey, I put the temperature sensor chip in off by 90 degrees the other day. We all do it. I gotta say we all do it so I don't feel so bad about myself. I'm starting to think I should just use solder to get this off. Ooh. I'm not sure what the difference between the A and the 09 designation boards are. No. You probably need a new BIOS chip, and probably, yeah, well, just try turn it around. Try and make sure the orientation is correct and try again. You never know, it might actually still work. I mean, on those, they're just SO8 chips, aren't they? So they're pretty easy to get on and off. Get myself a 4924 or something vaguely resembling one. You watch now, won't be able to find any 4924. Ah, I found a 4924. Hey Dan the plumber, how's it going? You've been a little bit absent lately. Hope you're alright. Ever seen a dinosaur cat? Mine was 21 September. What? A dinosaur cat? I'm not sure what you actually mean by that. Dinosaur cat. I'm just pickling the pads to get it to come off a little easier. Oh, just very old. Oh, right, yours is just turned 21. Yes. Yes. Personally, I consider, yeah, I try to expect my cats to get to the age of at least 24, around about that region, 22, into their 20s definitely. Particularly if they're well cared for, indoor type, or, you know, enclosure cats. I get impatient with getting these parts off. I shouldn't, but I do. Hey Jane Zimmy. What about a 3023 that gets fan spin but does not chime boot, but did it first? I'd be checking the clock circuit on that. If you get into SO state and you're not getting a CPU, I'll be looking at clock, I'll be looking at PCH, and then I'd be looking at Pionov to give the real answer. Well, that went in nice and slow and steady. Yeah, definitely would not get hot from bad programming. It's possible that maybe you're misinterpreting a mark on the chip as being pin 1, when it might actually be another marking. There should, on the chip, there should also be a bevel. What board is this? What board is that? Is that a 2936 or a 3115? Let's see if I can find one here. So here we go. We've got a. Oh, what are you? You're 2936, aren't you? No, you're a 3115. Yeah. Yeah. So you got your 3115. There's your keying dot. This particular chip doesn't have the other secondary indicator, which is sometimes the edge where pin 1 is will have a bevel on it compared to the other side where there won't be a bevel. But yeah, I mean, That's pretty much it, really. I mean, backwards is about all I can think of. Oh yeah, as Pianov says, if you're using the wrong chip in that job. But certainly when you say it gets hot, first thing that comes to mind for me is backwards. Alright, let's clean up this clock zone. Backwards, alright. And we're got a winner. So flip it around and see if it works. Because most of the heat from when you have it backwards is just simply because the protection, I think it's the protection diodes or the internal power circuitry, will basically just be creating a short to ground, well, a diode drop or so. I'm just removing those caps. Yeah, good thing I am. You can see it's eaten through a bit. That looks like we've got the pad there, it's just got a bit of oxidization on it. Someone asked if this was a 24-hour stream. No, it's just, I only do a couple, I think it's just coincidental timing more than anything else. Because I don't really get more than about an hour and a half a day on YouTube. Ah, get that little piece of snot out of there. Alright, I'm happy with that now. And I'll just transfer it from my donor. I'll have to go wide field for this. Ah, Dragon. I'm glad to see that I trigger people still. It's good to know that I've still got that talent. Like I said, I like to use the pointy tips of the tweezers to be able to interrupt the crystalline structure of the solder so that it sort of forces it into a liquefied state just before it would normally otherwise go. It's fun to upset people on the internet. No, I can appreciate how you feel. When I first saw people doing this with the tweezers like this, I'd be like, ah, you're grabbing it by the caps, the end caps. Why? And then I started doing, I was like, hey, I don't mind doing this. Hey Bryce, how's it going? Do you find venomous creatures on your property? I most certainly do. Spiders and snakes. We get centipedes, not quite a foot long, more like about 220, 230 millimeters long. So yeah, they're around. I mean, it depends on what level of venomousness you're talking about too. With centipedes, it's more like a really agonizing bite more than anything else. And a lot of the snakes are just... they're venomous, but they're not always lethal. Now this one here I actually want to lift off, even though I don't want to lift it off. I hate doing those ones. They are such a pain. Yeah, I'm glad I did lift it off. It is a bit mucky under there. No hard feelings whatsoever. We're older than the internet. Yeah, that is actually quite true, yes. We are the elders of the internet. Some of us even had a hand in the internet. I still remember the days on FidoNet when people were talking about a new image format, and it was the portable network graphics image format, the PNG. I remember it taking like a week or so to get messages back and forth between people. Still, it was faster than blimmin' snail mail. Okay, we've got one pad there looking a wee tad shonky. Yeah, yeah. Made the right move taking this one off. Centipedes are funny in the sense that, yeah, I mean, they can look like they're going fast. I mean, they do move at a fair rate, but I think it's more relative to their own size. But don't get me wrong, they give me that heebie-jeebie feeling a bit too, especially when they're big enough to really get into you. Yeah, Richard, that was how a lot of us got going into the broader network. I mean, I started out bulletin board systems when I was at school. That was probably 1987 or so, 88. But then once I got to university, yep, finding excuses to stay connected all day through the phone bank system, and occasionally getting caught out staying on there too long, and then they would threaten to ban your account. And then always trying to find ways of downloading files with bypassing their strict policies, because obviously they didn't. I think at that stage the international connection was only something in the range of 9600 baud. So how do you usually deal with venomous snakes and spiders? Have been bitten? I personally haven't been bitten. My father has been bitten by a redback. That makes you pretty damn crook. Or at least that was my observation of his state. The cats have been bitten a couple of times by mildly, relative to their capabilities, mildly venomous snakes. And they also get a bit crook for a couple of days. But yeah, fortunately, we have been fortunate that we haven't had any truly major incidents. It doesn't take much, and it's so easy. And the thing is, if you don't catch it, as in if you're not aware of what's happened, that's the real danger. I'm just trying to clean these pads up as best I can and make sure that I don't have corrosion still wicking through that. Yeah, see, I'm worried about corrosion in that top right pad. It's still got that bright powdery orange look. So I have to keep scratching that back. I remember when the first people started. Oh man, that's a mess. Yeah. So this is why you got to take these things off sometimes. I remember when the first BBSs started trying to do image type interfaces, and what they would do is you would download a preset of images, and it was a weird concept back then because as it was, you already spent a while thinking about whether you wanted to download any given image on the BPS. It'd be like, ooh, it's 100k in size. That's going to take 20 minutes. Is it worth it? Is she going to be hot? And yeah, so the whole idea of like forcing you to download images just to actually use the bulletin board, it was like, wow, that's different. Please do not tell me I've just lost that pad. I think I did. Yep, I did. Alright, well we've got the veer there, so we're gonna have to run a wire, anchor the wire somewhere so it doesn't drift. Oh man, we're in the Boardview. Why didn't people tell me? There we go. The B4, yes, I am my own home repair shop, so to speak. Do you have to be aware of crocodiles in all the bodies of water? You do around here. I mean, they're not as common as maybe what people make out to be, but they're certainly around. Okay, so we've got to fix up... Oh, you're just a ground pad? Oh. Well, that's crazy. Not used to them. Let's see. Let's see if it really is ground. Yep, you're ground. Okay. I was worried then it was going to be some rather important signal line, but it's not. It's ground. Just interesting that they brought it up via a stem like that. You'd almost expect it to be a flood fill from somewhere, but it's probably in an isolated region where there's no nearby ground. Let's see, we can just go up to here, that's ground there. Do you sometimes watch other people repair streams and just think what the fuck they're doing? Oh, all the time. All the time. There's this one fellow, he proclaims to be pretty good at it. He's some guy in New York, and he's always going off about doing MacBook repairs, and I watch him do work and I'm like, oh my goodness, how do you even claim to be a repair person? I think his name's Lewis Rossman or something. Anyway, I'm having thoughts of flying over and giving him a good talking to. Set him straight, you know. He's a bit of a young fellow. He needs some age and wisdom. What is the suggested file structure for Flexboard View? I suggest you have one for every board you have. Create a folder. Man, the vibration from this is really starting to tick me off. I really need to redo my whole workbench again. What was I going to say? One folder per board. So you have a folder called, say, 820000165, and in that folder you put your BRD file and your PDF file. And the nice thing is, if you've done that, then Flexboard View will detect that there's only one PDF in there, and it will assume that that is the PDF for the board file that you've got in there, and so it will automatically load it for you. It saves you having to manually make that association. Qantas has those direct flights. Yes, I saw that. I saw the Dreamliner do it in 19 hours and 4 minutes or something like that. Yeah, I saw it was also experimental, and the staff were pretty beaten up over it afterwards. Alright, now comes the fun part. The fun part is taking those really annoying pain in the butt little chips, these little blue glass chips that look so pretty, and reballing them. First thing I do is actually find where the little SOBs are. You're at 4924, where are you? Oh, great. Someone's already knocked that one off. I don't imagine it was me. It doesn't seem like the sort of thing I would do. Yeah, 19 hours. I mean, it's just... That's an impressive feat. I will definitely say that. A very impressive feat. Okay, so pin 1's down the bottom right. We can see by the dot. Speaking of orientations, who was it that had the orientation before? Is it fixed now? Lewis Rosewoman sent you there. Hey, hi. Have you ever played System Shock? Nope. I don't play much in the way of games. I get the urge to, but I just don't in the end. Alright. So how do we want to play this? We can go crazy option A, which... damn it. They're all uneven. That's no good. This is so annoying. You would think, oh, it's only got 6 pins on it. It must be fun to do these ones. It's like, no, it's really not. So what sort of psycho method do we want to use here? Shall we... I'm not even actually going to give you a choice. Let's be crazy and put pre-constructed 0.25mm balls on it. I think... let's go 0.3. Let's live a little. Opianov is... What's he saying? Timil loves the 2019? Oh no. Oh no. Let's see, heat gun. Southern Wonder, mine's just the classic that everybody else uses. Quick hot air, 861 DW. I got mine from Union Repair. I tried threatening Rossmann Supply to give me a free one. Unfortunately, they saw through my lies and they told me to just bugger off. And then I had to go and pay full price. Man, talk about an insult, eh? Full price at Union Repair, which of course was discounted anyway. I just like to complain for the sake of it, it's fun. Hey, Nuts and Proud, good to see you. Okay, that's not gonna work, come on. You want, okay, iPhone type level here, and even that balls are already on the run. So, come on. By the way, I do not genuinely recommend doing this. I'm doing this for a laugh. It's much easier to just slap some solder on your tip and do it that way, not this way. This is just for comic relief. And a bit of skill practice. These balls are actually way too big for this chip. I should have used 0.25. Oops, squished my ball. I think we need more flux now. Reball the motherboard, not the chip. No, no, no. No, you're missing the point of this exercise. The point of the exercise is to entertain and frustrate. Though I will admit, I am actually going to take this off the board because I am getting a little bit apprehensive about cooking up the board a bit. Alright, there we go. This is far more entertaining. Excellent, excellent. I'm racking people's nerves. Right on the mark then. I found being nice on the internet really doesn't pay off, and if I'm ever to get to anything close to even 100,000 subscribers, I need to start ticking people off. Being nice is for losers. You think Elon Musk was nice? No. He said, give me your money and I'm going to create something called PayPal. Oh. I see the problem I've got here is this damn chip's going to fly away. Turn down the... Yeah. Do it with your right hand. Alright, now someone's getting crazy. That would just feel weird. Right, yeah. It all feels backwards and feel like someone else is handling it. The wrong kind of way. Haha. Alright. Yeah, I'm a little worried these balls are too big. It'll be spectacular though. Oh man, they really do melt fast actually. Cute though. Now here comes the hard bit. This is like getting the last side and row of the Rubik's Cube done. You got everything else lined up and you just got that one last little bit to do. But you know that you make a bad move and all of a sudden your Rubik's Cube is ruined again. And you have to resort to cheating. Oh. Aha! Aha! We did it. That's so cute. Do you ever do any kind of reverse engineering? I did, yes. Particularly back in the 80s and 90s, I had to do a lot of it. A lot of us did. But to be fair, it was a lot easier back then in many ways. We didn't have all these complex multi-layer protocols and security, all that sort of stuff, at least not to the same degree. Let's see. Probably the last thing I reverse engineered directly. I suppose, can you even say that with software? Software protocols? Anyway, the last thing I ever did was I had to write a driver, the Turbo Pascal driver for a docket printer. I had to get the graphics mode working. That was fun. I did enjoy that stuff a lot. Come on. I've got the really low air and temperature setting here. I might have to just knock it up a little bit. I am aware that that tail is still hanging out. Yeah, I'm going to have to go up a little bit. Ever see a UFO? I have indeed. I was up in the Northern Territory in a little place called Jabiru, and everybody else was partying around. I was probably about, I don't know, 10 years old. Not exactly sure. Anyway, I was looking up in the sky and saw this thing coming down over the bushland, and I thought, oh, it's a meteor. But then it rose back up again and scooted off. I thought, okay, that's not really probably a meteor, at least to the best degree that my primitive little mind could handle. I sure hope those balls are good. It's unfortunate, because it's in the middle of the board, it makes it a little bit difficult to get a good look under the edge there. We'll see what we can do. It isn't sitting as perfect as it could because of the fact that we didn't have the solder mask to hold back the solder ball wicking along that that wire. Okay. Now I've got to find it. Where did I put that thing? Ah, there we go. Well, they're a little bit pronounced. Oh, lost track of it again. Oh no, there we go. Yeah, they're a little bit pronounced, but they're not touching, so that's good. At least I'm pretty sure they're not touching. Actually, you'd know if they were touching, they would have all just wicked into a singular mass. That's good. I'm using a 0.7 Barlow on this one. I find it's a good combination. It's a good balance between working distance and magnification range. Let's see, if Tim sees me soldering on working this without removing it, he's going to have a fit. Damn it. Tranquil the cat. Oh man, that's a rough way to live. That's a rough way to do work. Those USB cameras, they really make your life a lot harder. Just gonna see if I can warm up this adhesive so I can get it off. If you're wondering the lenses that I use, they're on my repair items page. So if you go pldaniels.com/repair items, one word, you'll see all the equipment that I'm using there for that sort of stuff. I should really be taking this from the other side. I'm blaming Tim. Tim is forcing unrealistic repair standards on me. Thank you, Dragon. Much appreciated. Even if I did say that a little weird because my brain... Hey, David Legault. How's it going? Alright. I do wonder what on earth caused that. Like, that's a very specific placement of corrosion. Yeah. So you just wonder at times, how did you get into that situation? How did you pick up that little piece of junk floating through the air? I guess you could become a bit of a Dexter of board corrosion. Analyze the splatter patterns of corrosion and liquid. Hot air. Travis, it can be difficult to decide, or it can be difficult to get started, if you don't have the budget outright for everything at once. Like, ideally you'd get the scope, the microscope, and the hot air station all at once. Yeah, just get it all out of the way, get on the job. But I would probably still go microscope first. Someone said it the other day, and it was an insightful and useful comment. It was like, it's no good having a good soldering iron if you can't see where you're using it. Whereas at least if you have a microscope, you can use a dodgy soldering iron and know where you're using it. Yeah, you can compensate for it a lot better. So I thought that was actually good advice, at least from my perspective. Whatever this stuff was that corroded, at least it just seems to be more oxidizing the pads rather than really eating them out. So I'm quite happy for that. Looks like I need some more solder. Alright, get our donor. Pretty sure it was that one there. See some comments about the microscope adapter tubes. You really want to avoid the long tubes. It's like having a rooster's feather on your head. Every time you move, they wobble around, things like that. I've got a very short tube on mine. Mine's the 0.3 reducer. I mean, it costs a fair bit, but it's definitely worth the money, and you get a near perfect image. Alright, that's that. What else did we have on here that was dodgy? So what have we fixed? We fixed that. We fixed the actual original backlight cap. Fixed the RTC, even though it looks a little bit wonky. I should probably clean that, make sure it's genuinely not wonky. Alright, that was the RTC. So we've done backlight, RTC, that thingamajig, which was I think the 3v3 switch, and then that, which was the 1v05 cap. I don't think there was anything else that we found on this attempt. Yeah, I'm pretty sure we're good. Yep, I think we'll put it into the chassis, see if we can get some life. I'll use the MRI on it. It won't work properly on this one because it is a little bit too new, but it does at least give me the boot. Oh, I did bring the little brick in it. Damn it. I was blind after all. Dragon, what are you triggered about this time? I guess the easiest way to get triggered these days is to just watch someone do anything. Watching someone eat a hamburger is good enough in most cases. Breaking my fingertips off doing that. I'm over 60, but I still find this type of work done very helpful. Don't change a thing. Yeah, well, I'm not too far off 50. So I know that's... I mean, hell, I'm pretty sure most people in their 60s are like thinking, man, 50 was great. And I would agree with you. Funnily enough, I was looking forward to my 40s more than my 30s I dreaded. But my 40s I was kind of like, yeah, you know, I'm actually looking forward to them. I don't know why. I mean, there's no real rationale to it. It's not like you get some magic prizes or anything other than a random chronic element. So like you get to 40 and I'd imagine 50 and 60 and it's like, if you have not been assigned a random chronic ailment, please stand by. And then someone will come up and give you something. '30s was all about crushing anxiety and mental health issues because you realise that your 20s are over and you haven't achieved your wild dreams, and now you're getting old and tired. And then by the time you start to get over that and you kind of go, you know, I'm still young, 30 is still young, you find your 30s have already run out. Cruel, cruel world. Alright, what am I plugging all this in for? I just want to see if backlight even works. I'd say the worst thing about age is the fact that you always realise that today is the youngest you're ever going to be now. Yeah. Let's all just drive a soldering iron through our heads now. one of the things I do find more amusing is the fact that I still feel like a complete kid. I feel like I'm still in my 22 or something like that, and should not be doing any of this. Let's see. Okay, let's go for backlight. I don't think these ones fan spin so early, so... Oh, we've got a bong, I'm happy. Greg M, long past 40s myself. Am I going, or did I go through, or am I going through a midlife crisis? No, I'm not, thankfully. Eye doctor told me I have to switch bifocals next year. Not looking forward to that. Yeah, that would be a pain. My dad said when you turn 60, you get a camera shove. Oh, that's nice, yeah. Now, this MRI does take a while to boot, so... I didn't bother to check to see if I had a freaking Apple logo or not. So I'm going to find out. Yeah, I knocked the MagSafe out a bit, so we'll have to wait again. '18 with a lot of experience. I will admit I am happy I'm not 18. I think 28 was around about where I really felt spot on. Part of that might have been because I was on top of the world and quite well off. Aha! We got backlight. Cool. Alright, so we're good. We fixed the backlight issue. And even though this has only come in for backlight, and yeah, I think man, that MagSafe has chewed up something good and proper. I might put the person's drive and reconnect everything, put the person's drive in. It feels like there's something in their MagSafe connection here. It's just not quite latching in. I wonder at times if this is why... Yeah, that's why. Because there's a freaking cap in there. It's... hello, capacitor. You're not supposed to be there. There's a bunch of other junk in there too. Oddly, that doesn't look like one of my capacitors. Then again, it probably is. But there's a lot of stuff here that really isn't... I should throw that all into the... Throw it all into the ultrasonic. The main issue with the Pros, I don't really have a... what could you say? I don't really have a pattern or anything at this point. So, yeah, can't really answer that, honestly. With the 1466s, it's almost, and things like that, it's almost always liquid damage. And the occasional PCH failure, depending on the model. But yeah, 1466s almost always is liquid damage related. I should point out, even though I say liquid damage, that I guess that does cover bug-based corrosions as well. Because it's not always a case of someone spilt something in a machine, it's just sometimes you get random ants, bugs, something that crawls in, dies, lets its juice out when it dies because of natural body decomposition, nothing to be ashamed of, and then causes a corrosion, which is something to be ashamed of. Like me not knowing where I put that flex. Do we connect the battery? I say nay, we do not. Okay, we do have to, however, put customer identity protection. Soul crushing talks today. Yes, very soul crushing talks. How that you don't repair S10 LG phones or using iPhone, I just choose not to do anything about iPhones. I don't really have the time, resources, and things like that here to cover more than what I already am covering. I mean, as it is, it's already a bit of a push. I don't do iPads, certainly not iPods. It's hard enough keeping enough mental capacity for what I do now. I wouldn't like to try and push it any further. LP8550s are phased out. I don't know exactly what they did, but they are coming back in stock. Did we get a bong yet? Oh yeah, there we go. We got an Apple logo. I just didn't hear the bong. Must be deaf. Funny that. It fortunately is only quad to 11 at the moment over here. Fortunately. Okay, it looks like we have a proper boot going on here. Just peek under the covers. That looks good. Let me see that. Yes, touchpad works. Alright. Let's wait to see if the fan kicks in. It hasn't done that yet, but this is one of those ones that I think doesn't fire off until it hits about 80 degrees. Yeah, I've been getting my LP8550s from 1114, and I think I've only got about 25 or 30 on back order. They're supposed to be getting back in stock in about another 2 months or so I guess we'll see. Hi, you guys cornered the market. You guys probably deliberately caused the shortage. That's some smart business. I would do that. Nah. I'm not going to worry about taking this too much further. I've got to put the board through the ultrasonic now, unfortunately. I kind of made a bit of a mess of it. So probably the right thing to do is ultrasonic before I send it back. We'll just shut this down. Shut down. I was glad that we spotted all those other issues, because as you can imagine, if I'd just fixed up that big cap and then sent it back, you know that in a month or two this computer will be back here with a warranty claim. Even though it wouldn't be the backlight's fault, because we would have fixed that. You know that we would be the one having to cover it. And in all honesty, I would consider it my own fault anyway. I think if you are taking the time to take a board out and you do spot some sort of liquid damage, then you should do a reasonably thorough job of checking over the board, making sure you haven't missed other things like that. Yes, corner the market, raise the prices, control supply. Perfect business. That's the way it should be done. If you want to consider yourself a true American, then that should be your everyday job, to think like that. When you get up in the morning, first thing you should be trying to do is corner the market for the bathroom. Start charging people before anyone else gets in there. Yep. So look at this exploded cap, shall we? Let's take this chunk out. Make sure I don't fling any of this into my breathing system. Lungs, that's what they're called. Yes, lungs. Ah, come on. I am kind of curious that this one, it cracked and died, but it didn't really short out. Or maybe it was shorted and then eventually when the power was applied again, it burned through the short. Let's have a look on the underside. It's a pretty good mess. Yep. Well done, Cap. Well done. Nice thing is you're nice, big and obvious, so I was happy for that. Alrighty, well I guess that concludes tonight's repair. Not really a 3-day protracted event like the other ones that we've been having. I've still got to actually finalise that one. Let's see, the trouble is I've got to set the ultrasonic cleaner up, so I'll do that in the morning. There's no point in me turning on the ultrasonic cleaner now because it's, well, 11 o'clock almost, so it won't be warm until 2 o'clock in the morning, and I'm certainly not going to be doing cleaning up of boards. That was not a tantrum cap, that was a multi-layer ceramic and MLC. I do still, in spite of that behaviour, I do actually still prefer them, definitely over tantalum caps. I prefer to call them tantrum caps because, you know, when they get upset they really do chuck a tantrum. It's alright, so with that, I guess it's just good night. I'm going to go back to my other office, check my emails, write up my reports. Just realised I forgot to mark my... I'll do that now so that I don't walk out of here and regret not doing things. Okay, so replace item, clean item. Yeah, get my keyboard. Right. What else do we do? Replace that. And then we had you place item. I keep thinking there was one other item that I had. Oh yeah, that's right, there was the RTC caps. Replace. Replace. Good. Alright. See, and then when I do the invoice up, I can just pull up the summary, and then I can always, or if it comes back, I can always have a look at what the job was and know what I can do. So, there we go. Now, you guys probably can't really see what I did there, but basically we just sort of created our job code, our job sheet, and all these bits. Although it looks a bit repetitive, it does prove to be useful. Interesting, they're all pretty much on... That doesn't seem right. Might have a bug there. Anyway, oh, all good. Okay, well, that's it. I'll catch up with you all maybe tomorrow. I've got some more work to get done, so you never know. Might be another stream done tomorrow. Until then, have fun with your own repairs. I'm not going to say I hope you learned something, because you probably didn't. Then again, maybe you did, but I also don't want to steal Lewis's tagline. I've got to come up with my own. How about, don't let the dingoes bite you. I'll catch you later.